Hey everybody, welcome back to Pet Adoption App in part 17. Here we're going to start working our models, and please pause the video and have a look at this screenshot. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to talk to you guys about this pet table, the pets table, the users table, the categories table, and the costs table. Now, as a pet, hey, I belong to a user and I belong to a category. Okay, so I belong to a user and I belong to a category. I have many transportation costs and I have many photos. This is pretty much straightforward. This is the pets table, and the pet belongs to the user, okay? And the pet belongs to the category. All right, so that's why over here we have a one-to-many relationship. We have a user, one user has many pets, a category has many pets. And this is why you see here, this is a foreign key, the user ID and the category ID. So if you have a pet called Fuzzy, you will know that Fuzzy in the column, inside the column table of pets table, there's a column called user ID. It will be number 47. That 47 is basically, in the users table, is going to be Mark, for example. Okay, so Mark can have many pets, can have 50 or 50,000 pets, it doesn't matter. And obviously a category, in the category table, like a category called rabbits can have 50,000 rabbits or whatever. And it can have many pets. It can have like rabbits, dogs, cats. And that's why a category has many pets. Just like in the e-commerce shop, the men's category or the women's category has many products, right? Same here. So it's a one-to-many relationship, and that's what the symbol is. This is called database relationships. So this is one-to-many. One user to many. Okay, and also the pet has a cost table, which is also, obviously you can see here, as a pet, okay, as a pet, I have many transportation costs. Why? Because when pet rescue centers, they want to give a pet away, 100% of the time, they make the person who's taking the pet pay for it. Why? Because there's a lot of people out there who do bad things to pets. And there are bad people out there, so, or people who can't afford to have a pet. So you always want to put some price on a pet, no matter what. Even if that person is a good person, it doesn't matter. Even if it's $100 or $50 or $20. And also, some pets are transported locally, like within the neighborhood, and that's a different cost from transporting a pet from, say, Phuket to Bangkok, or Phuket to Chiang Mai, or Phuket to Canada. That's an international cost. Phuket to Canada. And, so that's why there is, inside here, there's an attribute called has one transport cost. Now, hang on a second. Remember the users table, full name, email, organization that we added in the previous parts? That's exactly what it is. Each attribute that you see here is just basically a column inside the table. And that's why here, we want to visualize the table before we create it. We have the user ID, that's a foreign key. That's why it's in blue background. The category ID, it's in a foreign key, to tell us where this pet belongs. It belongs to the cat category and it belongs to Mark. You know what I mean? Through the user category, because of the user category ID. And everything else here is an attribute, just a regular good old attribute with a data type. All right. Now, the pet, though, has many costs. The pet has many costs, and that's why a cost has to have a title, like a national, for example, local, national, and international. Okay, that's three different titles. There's a description that's going to describe what is associated with the costs. Taking your pet from Phuket to Thailand to Canada, or Phuket, Thailand to United States. There's also transportation time. A dog needs vaccinations. All kinds of vaccinations, leptospirosis or rabies, etc. So there is a transportation time, and in order to I'm sorry, transportation time. So yeah, it means for 30 days, once there's someone called Samantha in Canada who wants to adopt this pet, then the pet rescue center will obviously have inside the pet, when Samantha clicks on the pet, she wants to see that it will probably take 30 days for this pet to get their vaccinations ready and everything. And it will take 24 hours more for the pet to be transported by air to Canada. So there's transportation time. That's extremely important. Okay. Now the cost, like I said, it's $50 for local for the pet given locally or nationally from Phuket to Bangkok. That's going to cost say $300 or $800 to be transported from Phuket to Canada or United States or whatnot. And then there's the cost type. All right, so the cost type, I'll talk about that later. So the cost table, hey, I belong to a pet. That's it. The cost table belongs to a pet. That's why there's a pet ID inside. So whenever you find a cost, you'll find the pet ID. You'll know that that this cost belongs to that pet ID. Okay, so okay, so that's a one-to-many. So we have a users table. We have a categories table. I want you to have one more look at the categories table. Hey, I belong to no one, but I own many pets. That's why you don't see any foreign keys in there. Hey, I belong to no one, but I own many pets in the users table. Now come over here, and you can have a look here at this for a second. Just maybe pause the video and just have a quick look at this. There we go. And here, have a quick look at that. And there we go. So now we're gonna come to Visual Studio Code and we're gonna start creating our models, okay? One by one, step by step, and I'll explain something else. And that's really important. It's right here. You're gonna notice I'm gonna add all these attributes inside the Visual Studio when I'm running my command to create the model. Description, I'm not gonna add description there. Why? Because it works. We're gonna use active I forget text, active text. I forget. Let me just come here. It's extremely important, and it's right here. I had it prepared. It's called action text. We're gonna use Rails action text install, and that's where that works just like active storage. Okay, it's gonna create its own table. It's gonna create its own table, and it's gonna refer to the ID in that table for the pet. Okay, so we will be able to use this description right out of active, right from action text. Why I keep saying active? It's from action text. You're probably gonna say why? Like, why can't you just make it like this description here on the about me? Well, here I can't even add bold. I can't add italic. I can't add links. It's just text. It's just regular good old text with nothing. There's no rich text. Okay, and that's the whole point of action text is rich text. So you can do this in the future for future apps. If you want rich text, you might want to remove the attribute description from your model and just remove it once and for all, and just use. I'll tell you how to use. We'll just follow this example here. So come back to Visual Studio Code. Let's start creating our models one by one. We'll start with a category. And we'll do Rails generate model, and the category only has one attribute. So capital C, okay, category. Notice I'm making it singular. Rails generate model category, and the name, okay, that's our attribute. It's going to be a string. Okay, name string. And also one more thing I want to do is --no -test framework. No test framework. Okay, we don't want test framework. Hit enter, and that's going to create for us, instead of adding all the by the way, if you ever make a mistake, I just want you to know, if you ever make a mistake, you can always do the same command and come back and replace the G over here. Replace the G with destroy. So do a backspace on the G and replace it with destroy, and that will destroy that model for you. That's how you undo things in Rails. That's before you made the migration. If you made the migration, that means it's in a database. Now, we haven't made any migrations yet, but we did create now. If you notice, if you click app and you click on models, you'll notice there's a category model, and that's awesome. And it's just, actually, we need to, yeah, because the category doesn't belong to anyone, so there's nothing in here for now. Okay, so close the category, and you're also going to notice in the migration table, in the DB folder, click on migrate. You're going to notice another another migration file called create categories, which is just one name, which is a string. Let's close that, and let's do the next one. The next one is going to be the pet table, the pet model. Okay, not pets. That's just the name of the table. It's going to be the pet model. So come back to Visual Studio Code and let me just have a look quickly. So it's title active video is spade, has one transport cost, and then description we're not going to put. That's why I put a red line there. So, all right. So let's do a Rails G model pet. Okay. So Rails G model pet. We start with a title. So TITLE. I suck at spelling. That's why I got to be very careful here. Rails generate model pet, and the title is going to be a string. And let me just make this smaller here. Title is going to be a string. All right, and we have active. We have active is going to be a boolean, and also we have a video. Okay, we have a video that's going to be a string, of course, because it's going to be like a YouTube URL. And we have the is spade, is underscore spade, and that's going to be a boolean. Is spade is yes or no. Spade means whether the dog is fixed or not. Okay, meaning like the dog cannot reproduce. If it's spade, that means the dog cannot reproduce. Okay, they can't reproduce anymore, and so it's going to be either true or false. Okay, so after is spade, we're going to do has one transport, has underscore one. No, has underscore one underscore transport underscore has one transport cost. Okay, that's going to be whether like someone wants to put a pet for adoption and then says, look, the price is just $100 and I'll deliver it locally. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The price is, so if it's one cost, that means it's going to be true, and there's only going to be one price, not 3 prices or 4 prices or 5 or 10 prices. Okay, so that's also a boolean. Boolean. Okay, now followed by a space. What else did we miss? Did we miss anything? So is spade has one transport active and title, and the description we're going to add with active with rich text. That's going to be separate. So come back here, and again, there's 2 important things now: is the category ID and the user ID. So how do we do that? Okay, over here we do user. Okay, that's the user model, like that, and we say references, okay, followed by space, category, okay, category, references, okay, followed by space, dash no dash test dash framework. Hit enter. Okay, perfect. So now you're going to notice here on the left, you're going to notice another migration, and that's called, it's right over here. You're going to notice create pets. Okay, this is just a table. This is not the model. This is the table. Well, it's not the table. It's the file that's going to write and create the table in the database later when we migrate it. So we have a string, which we have a title, which is a string of active. And of course here, whatever is a string, we have to say default. Default is false, right? So the default is false. Okay. And one more thing I want to say. Actually, you know what? Yeah. So what have I done here? Hang on. Default is false. Okay. So default is false. What else? What else is a boolean? Default is default. Default's going to be false also. Okay. And we have a has this one also, default is going to be false. Okay, so we have 3 booleans. This one, the active, default false, the spade, default false, and the has one transport cost, default is false. Okay, now I want you to save this. Don't forget to save. Okay, Command S to save it. And as you can see the references here, it says that it has a foreign key. Foreign key is true, and that's the user and the category. Okay, so after you save it, close it. All right, now we don't need to do anything in the migration of this one because there is no booleans. Okay, so we close that too. And next we need to do is we need to create the user table is already created for us. There's no need to touch that. Please leave that alone. So we're not going to touch that at all. obviously it's been created, so we don't need to create one, but we do need to create the costs table. Okay, we need to create the cost table. And yeah, so let's have a look here. So we have a title, a description. Again, this description here for the cost is not going to be rich text. It's just going to be a plain good old description explaining why the cost costs so much. Okay, the transport time, the cost, the actual cost, which is an integer, and the cost type. So title, description, transport time, cost, and cost type. All right. So now time to create the cost model. All right, so we do a Rails G for generate cost with a capital C, right? Cost singular. We put a title because the cost has to have a title, and that is a string. We also have a description, and that is text. It's not a string. It's a text. It's a data type. Okay, and we also have transport. Yeah, so we're gonna have transport. What was it? Transport time, right? Transport time is gonna be an integer data type, integer. Okay, and we also gonna need the cost. Okay, the cost is an integer, and let me just make this smaller. And after the cost, what else do we have? We have the cost type. Yeah, we have the cost type. So cost underscore type, and this is also going to be an integer. Okay. Oops. Cost type integer. You can make this whatever you want, but I'm going to make it an integer. Okay, because because we can always change that later on. Okay, but we'll leave it as integer for now. All right. Now this table here has a pet ID. So we have to say pet references, okay? And no test framework. Okay, so pet model is references. Okay, and then dash dash no dash test dash framework. Hit enter. What happened here? Expected Boolean value. I made a mistake somewhere. Let's have a look if anything was created. Nothing was created. Let's look at our models. So we have category, we have a pet, we didn't do the cost. Let's just do, what did I do here? So I wrote Rails G. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry guys, see, I make mistakes all the time, and I pay heavily for my mistakes, and that's okay. Rails generate G model cost, okay? Oops. Rails generate model cost, okay? So as you can see, everything is here. Okay, after references, there's a space, and then there is a dash dash, no test, no dash. Yeah, you could see it here. I don't need to say it. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter now, and that should be perfectly fine. So we have now all our models. Now let's open the pet migration first. Okay, let's find the migration before we do anything to the model. We find the create, no, not the pets. The pets we already touched. We already did the default false for the booleans. The create costs, okay, table. Because the tables are always named with plural, okay? The model is always named singular, okay? Do we have, of course, we don't have any booleans, so we close that. Let's close this these folders. Now let's do this one step at a time. The category, okay? Now in regards to this, please, I want to show you exactly where to get it. So I want you to go to Ruby on Rails, guides.rubyonrails.org. I need to show you where to find this because it's kind of pointless to not show you where you can get the answers. Okay, guides.rubyonrails.org. And I want you to do a command F and type in associations, active record associations, okay? Right here, active record associations. And if you click here, you get, this is like really extremely friendly, extremely user friendly, and has a lot of information. Okay, like belongs to, has one, has many. Like remember the belongs to, one pet belongs to, as a pet I belong to a user, as a pet I belong to a category. So you want to come here, this here, it's belongs to author. This it's a belongs to association. It explains what belongs to means. Okay, and it gives you a real example. Okay, and also if you keep scrolling down, it has the has one. It's a one-to-one association. So one supplier has one account. Okay, and that's why here you have the supplier ID. Okay. And of course, the account belongs to supplier. Okay. Now, if you keep scrolling down, has many, that's what we are dealing with. So one user has many pets and one category has many pets. And here we have to say has many, okay, inside the author. Like this is author, but in our example, it's the pet, okay? So actually, no, it's the user and it's the category. Okay, so the user has many pets and the category has many pets. So that means we have to edit the model of the user and write has many pets. Okay, so this is how the association is made, right? And here has many through. This is a little bit more complicated, but this is pretty simple. It's a one-to-many relationship. Okay, so has many books. Okay, and the belongs to. Remember, the belongs to, Rails did it for us already because we added the references. Okay, in the category, okay, the category doesn't belong to anybody. Okay, the category doesn't belong to anybody. We didn't do references, nothing. We just created the category with a name. So coming back over here, we have to no the yeah so yeah, so the category doesn't belong to anybody, but the category has many pets because there's a foreign ID, there's a foreign key inside of pets with category. So we have to add has underscore many, and then we say pets because the category has many pets, like that, and you want to save that. Okay, now let's open the pet model. Okay, so the pet model belongs to the user. That's what Rails did for us when we said references user, user references, category references, because the pet model belongs to the user and the category. Okay, but we still need to add more here in the model because there's other things. Okay, remember the pet says that I have many transportation costs. Okay, and that's why, and I have many costs. Okay, and that's why here we have to create this association that a pet in fact has many costs. Okay, so has underscore many, and then we say costs with a plural. Okay, and we also need to come back here and see I have many I have many photos, and we're using active storage for the photos. Okay, so come back here and active storage, we can find Command F, actually come back here and active storage. And if you come to active storage, Command F has many attached. You click on this and you'll see here has many attached. So here has many attached images. They're calling it images. Remember with the avatar, we called it avatar. So you can copy that, okay? You can copy that, come here to the pet model, and we can just paste it in, but instead of images, we can give it a more meaningful name. Like we can say pet underscore photos, okay? So in the blobs table of active storage, you're gonna notice there's gonna be something called pet photos column. Okay, so it has in the name there'll be a name that it'll be called pet photos. Okay, so it has many attached pet photos. The next thing we need to do is we need to actually say that it accepts nested attributes. Okay, and for that, if you want to get more information, you can get it right here in active record nested attributes. So we want to actually say accept nested attributes for. Okay, so we want to click on that, and this is a extremely useful. Yeah, so you can just copy that right here. Okay, or you just follow me. But you can really do so much if you read this here. You're gonna like really love it. But if you don't feel like reading through it, that's fine. Okay, you'll know what I'm talking about later on. So here we have an accept nested attributes for. Okay, and we also want to say that it's going to be with the costs. Okay, because the cost, remember, we have 3 or 4 or 10 different types of pricing. But for me, for this app, we have local, national, and international. Okay, so it's going to be for the costs. Okay, okay, for the costs. I know this is a little complicated, but you don't have to right now. Don't worry about this. I know you understand this one from active storage. I know you understand has many costs, but you need to add accepts nested attributes for. And also we need to, I guess that's it for now for the pet. Okay, we need to save that. Now let's, so we did the category, we did the pet. Now let's do the cost. Okay, so in regards to the cost, right away, we know when we created the cost, we said references pet, so it says right away belongs to pet. Okay, and so that's, we can just leave it as is right now. Okay, so come back here, the cost belongs to the pet. That's why there's a pet ID. Okay, now we're dealing with models, guys. We're dealing with models. But one last thing we didn't do, we didn't touch the users table. We need to touch the users table in the model. Okay, sorry, we didn't touch the users model. So we'll come back here and click on the users to find out user.rb. You see, has one attached avatar. Okay, just like here on the pet, has many attached pet photos. Okay, in the user we has one attached avatar. So we need to edit this. We need to say has many pets. Okay, has underscore many pets, just like the author in the book. One author has many books. If this was a book author situation, we would say has many books. Oh, has many pets. Okay, and it's always in the plural. Okay, there we go. So that's done. So one by one, close user.rb. We're in pet.rb. Okay, so in the pet.rb, I think we're pretty much done. But there's one thing that we talked about here that we didn't implement yet in the pet is the description. Okay, so let's come back over here in the action text. Here they're saying Rails action text install. Okay, that's the same thing, same way we installed active storage. Okay, and then we need to say has rich text inside the model. This is a model, and ours is pet. It would be class pet from application record, which is class pet from application record. So, but we do need to run this command, Rails action text install, copy that, come over here, and let's paste that in. And once we do that, you're gonna notice there's gonna be a migration made, and why is it taking so long? But anyway, it's I'm not sure why it's taking so long, but okay, there we go. There we go. Boom. See? It created the table. It created, it created the, there. So copied migration, create action text tables here. You come back, if you close the models, okay, you'll see it here in the DB. You then click on migrate, and if you can find this, create action text tables. There we go. This is the action text tables that the awesome Rails created for us right now by running this command. It's just same as the active storage tables up here. Okay, so this is the migration. So we obviously gonna have to. So we're just gonna we're gonna have the ability to do rich text. This is beautiful. Okay. All right, so over here, Rails says that we need to say has rich text content, okay? And obviously, this is our pet model here. Our pet table, this is a table, but in our pet model, we need to indicate that because we need to bring a description from active text. Jeez, or from action text. It's so hard to remember both simultaneously. Okay, so come back here, and we are in the pet.rb because this is about the pet, and we paste has rich text, and Yeah, actually, no, this is, I mean, it has it, but we can't put content here because what we want to call it is pet description, for example. Okay, so I'm going to call it pet underscore description, or you can, you can call it description. I'm just going to call it pet description, okay, because it's for the pet. Okay, save this file. Make sure you save it. Close the pet file. The category is fine as it is. Um, and I think we should add some validations to pet, but we'll do that later. Yeah, and close the category. And right over here, we're good to go. Let's look at our tables. Look, you can open Postico and click on pet adoption development. Look, we have the active storage, the ones we did in the previous part, active storage blobs. These are two tables for the photos that active storage uses. And then we only have the users table. These two tables here, these two tables right here in the middle, these we're always there, okay? Now, you can also go to pgadmin, okay, and make sure your server is running, okay? Like this server, the PostgreSQL is running. You can open a new pgadmin window from here and enter your Mac username and password, your Mac password, in order to access pgadmin. And you can see over here in the tables, I don't have anything except the users and the active storage blobs and active storage attachments. Now, the minute I do Rails DB migrate like that, you're going to see all the magic happen, and all these tables and our database, pet adoption development, is going to be populated with all these beautiful, awesome tables. Now, if you come back to Postico and you click here, or you just click a refresh, look, guys, we have a users table that we always had. We have the pets table, okay? We have the cost table. We have the categories table. We have the action text, rich text. Now, let's look at the categories. Look, we have a name, okay? And we can come back. Let's have a look at the costs. Look, we have a cost title. We have a cost description. Here we have a transport time, okay? Because the transport time, we have the cost type, the pet ID, and that's all, because cost table belongs to the pet, okay? Now come back to pets, and you're going to notice the title, the active, that's a Boolean, video is displayed. Now, I want you to also go to pgadmin, and you can just refresh like that. Just reload it, hard refresh. And pgadmin, I love pgadmin because they never charge you a penny for anything, no matter what. I think Postico eventually will end up charging you. So that's why I always do it with both. Just come over here and have a look. We have your pets. There's actually there isn't. Yeah, so view all rows, and you'll notice here we have all our columns in our row. Isn't it amazing? You have the title, the active, video, and you'll have the foreign keys here. Is the user ID, okay, and the category ID, the two foreign keys, okay. So and then we also have the created at. That's just every table is created with a created at and updated at. And then every table has created at and updated at. All right, so guys, I'm glad that we have completed this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next tutorial, when we're gonna work on our controllers, and we're gonna move a lot further. Okay, guys, thanks. Please like and subscribe to support my channel, because the more likes and subscribes I see and the comments I see, the more I'm encouraged to continue doing what I'm doing, because it really helps a lot. Okay, thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in part 18.